Hello, welcome to my ADI Part 3 series where I get all the answers about the tests from an ex-ADI enforcement officer, the people who will conduct your Part 2, Part 3 and standards check tests. I've put 16 of the most burning questions that both PDIs and ADIs ask about the test, and in this video I asked the question, what subject should I choose? Probably the most common question I get asked from PDIs is, well, what subjects should I choose?
I've had that a lot.
So yeah, what would be your thoughts on that? What as an examiner?
You can do anything. Actually any subject. The only one you can't do is you obviously can't do a beginner lesson, and that's primarily because we want the wheels moving, and the beginner lessons, I know, you spend all the time outside the road.
Do they need to be able to drive from the
They
test
need,
centre?
I personally would say my definition of beginner is at the very least they need to be able to do a roundabout or a junction, to be able to actually move out of the test centre and drive around, so town driving, that that kind of level. Might be a bit rusty, but that's fine, they're learners. You can't have teaching a manoeuvre from the beginning, recap I think is the official thing. So by that, again, don't stay in the test centre car park. That would be lovely if you could say, we're going to recap a manoeuvre, we're going to go over to a supermarket, do a bit there, maybe a different supermarket on the way back if you've got that opportunity, so you've got more than one. And that way I've seen you drive between two different locations. Naturally other things will crop up.
So you wouldn't introduce a manoeuvre, you wouldn't say, right, I'm going to do a bit of briefing.
No, because
killed loads of time.
No,
in a stationary car.
You can't start at the car park and then just stay there and then finish. I need to see you on the road.
And is that so you can evaluate like the risks side of like how they manage that?
Yeah, how you direct, how you time instruction, how you adapt if that comes up, how you control there's lots of factors we're looking at to assess you, and it wouldn't be a fair representation if I've only seen you move.
And if someone did say, I'm doing that, would you try and change their mind, or would you let it happen and be unlikely to
if it's a part of your standards check, and someone said to me, I'm going to do a manoeuvre for the first time today, I'd say unfortunately you can't be doing that, but you can recap a manoeuvre. I'll give you a little moment just to think about what else you could do, but unfortunately you won't be able to carry that forward today.
So you give them a chance.
I give them a chance, and me personally, if I see the person struggle, I'll say, what are the problems this person have, or driving wise. And at that point they'll say, oh, we have been doing this. Well, maybe you could do that. Maybe just saying. Officially, we shouldn't really be swaying people, but sometimes people need a bit of a nudge. Sometimes, and in part 3, if people are nervous, we're here to help you. My outlook is, you teach anything really. So, yeah.
So I get the feeling sometimes people are picking a subject primarily first, like that I enjoy or I'm good at teaching roundabouts or whatever, without even having a pupil in mind.
Yeah, and that's where the wording at the top, goals and needs, and the need should be in bold capitals. Does the person need it? If the answer is yes. I mean, that's if you've got a couple of people all at the same stage, as I have when I've been teaching people to drive. You might have 5 people all at roundabout stage, so you can realistically think, well, I'm probably going to be doing that in my part 3. That's in a few weeks' time, and at that point these people will be at that stage. So in that potential you can kind of do that, but what I would say be flat wrong is when it's usually the trainer would say to the PDI, or the PDI might just read something online or something and say, oh, I've seen rural roads is a good subject, I want to do that, and they'll start planning where they're going to go, the sort of questions they're going to ask. Then they find the person, and at that point it's quite easy. You don't really need to be an examiner to work that one out. You could just be a person about it. You just sort of think, well, hold on, this doesn't quite add up. This person doesn't really seem to need that, because they'll be saying about what's the vanishing point, and the learner or the person might then answer perfectly. And you think, well, if that was me, I'd now be changing this, because this person clearly knows more than you've given them.
Value of this lesson,
but then but it's fascinating because people then persist, and you think, oh, just okay, you're not taking anything into account. That's usually what you see in that case.
So it needs to be client-centered, so you're best to choose a pupil and find out what they need rather than
Absolutely,
pick a subject
yeah.
and then find a pupil to fit in.
Absolutely, yeah. It's
to a
really.
subject.
I mean, that's why the PDI badge is such a good idea, because in theory you should have at least, you know, maybe 3 or 4 people a week, something like that, I guess. So you've got a good mix to choose from. So in theory you can sort of find just someone that you think can actually, you know, is not going to be a constant headache of problem after problem after problem, someone that can at least, you know, move off it and be in a prompted, I'd say, is a brilliant level to be at. Someone that can drive but needs input. If someone's at a telling stage, the workload is really hard on you, and it's also very hard in telling to demonstrate genuine learning.